Hello, after Redmen TV Daily News time. Let's talk through some Liverpool stuff. Mr. Aubrey Reynolds is here. Hi, Aubrey.
Hi, right. We act like we don't speak for 3 hours in the office together. I've just wandered in.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Chris isn't here at the moment. He's off recording a podcast for the Anfield Wrap. He's supposed to be letting me know which one it is so I can put you in that direction. He's clearly forgotten. The Anfield Wrap, it's a thing. TheAnfieldWrap.com, he'll be on there. 4 things I want to discuss with Aubrey today. 3 pieces of transfer news, 2 in, 1 out, and a piece of injury news, which I think we'll start with because I think it's the thing everyone wants to talk about and wants to hear. Sadio Mane's shoulder injury, not serious. Now, kind of yesterday in the office, we just recorded the build-up show for Burnley. We'd waxed lyrical about Mane. Chris had gone mad about him because he loves him, and rightly so.
He does adore him.
He does adore him. And then it broke that he'd hurt himself badly in training. He'd been rushed to hospital, and there was talk of it being a dislocated shoulder. Now, apparently it's just a muscle injury.
Yeah. Which
means he'll probably be out at the weekend still, which is a blow. But given how bad we thought it could be, it still feels like a massive relief.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? There was talk about, is it the best Premier League debut ever?
Yeah.
Which I think is possibly too far, but maybe not. Is it the best Premier League debut for a Liverpool player ever? I think that's got a better contention for it. Has a player ever made himself so invaluable in the hearts and minds of Liverpool football players after one professional game?
Yeah, I know.
Because literally, we were talking about it the other day. The office was in a really good vibe. It's been really nice and sunny. The shorts are on. You know, I think everyone's...
You're welcome, by the way.
Everyone, yeah. Just a little treat for you, for our 98% male viewing audience.
Maybe this is why.
But you've got, like, everyone's buzzing. You know, we just beat Arsenal away from home, going into what should be theoretically an easier game. You're talking all about it, and then all of a sudden, it was just one pinprick, deflated all of that because of one player. Yeah. And there was players who did really, really well in that game other than Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
But it's a point that Chris has made. He's been banging the drum all summer, and it turns out from what we've seen against Barcelona and against Arsenal, he was right.
Yeah.
Pace has changed our team.
Yeah.
Goals from midfield have changed our team. And Sadio Mane lets everyone else play.
Yeah.
Because his runs and the fear that we had of losing that from our team, it was palpable, especially coming off of the back of Shea Ojo can fill in. I'm confident that this season, our season's not completely dependent on Sadio Mane playing every game and being at his top in every game. There'll be games where, like Burnley away later on into the season, might have been a game where you go, all right, Sadio, we'll give you a break here. You'd expect Shea Ojo should, and if he's going to be a Liverpool player here on in, he should step up to newly promoted team away from home and do that. He's injured as well.
Yes.
Fuck. So we're going to be playing Milner or Lallana in the non-pacey position again, and it scares you, doesn't it?
Well, it's interesting because Aubrey and I are going to be doing a subscriber-exclusive show on Liverpool's squad depth, just as we gear toward the end of the transfer window and look at whether there's any... Everyone knows the left-back thing. We'll chat about that, but also we'll chat a bit more about whether there's anywhere else Liverpool need to improve with one last move or 2 left in the window. But also the starting 11 prediction show to come as well. So I think there's an interesting debate to be had around the Mane Ojo stuff and how that impacts those positions on the pitch and whether we need to go out and get someone of you. But you're right. I'm just glad, like I say, I think we can. If you're gonna miss, we wanted Mane there because I think we need to just go and bully Burnley and come away with 3 points and start looking ahead to Spurs. Less concerned about Burton, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that he's not out. Hopefully not out for a long spell is massive because ultimately you can go out. With Markovic is still there. Ojo will come back in a month, hopefully. They're kind of fine options as your second and third or even 4th choices for that. But Mane is so much better than anyone else we've got in those type of roles. That would have been a massive concern. So yes, big sigh of relief, and hopefully he's back for Spurs more than anything else. The message from Chris Pajak, the Anfield Wrap on City Talk, which I believe is the free podcast which goes out tomorrow. So if you want to listen to Chris on the Anfield Wrap for nothing, you can do on theanfieldwrap.com. Okay, transfer links. You know what? Let's get the rubbish ones out of the way. Let's get Alberto to Valencia out the way. There's talk of a £2.6 million bid from Valencia. You've actually got something a little bit more on this, I think, in terms
I haven't brought it down with me, the actual quote, but
I'm sure you can
paraphrase it. Basically, man, I forgot his name. Spanish name. The chairman of Valencia is quoted as speaking, and this was tied in with us being tenuously linked, but mostly Arsenal being linked with Mustafi, is how it's being reported. Basically, he's come out and said, yeah, we're breaching financial fair play rules at the moment. We've bought 4 players and we can't actually officially register them because they were bought with non-financial fair play money. We need to bring money in to address that situation. We also need to bring a centre-back in case one of our centre-backs was to leave, which, you know, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're probably made up or upset because who knows what they think. If you're a Liverpool fan who's being linked with Mustafi, I'm quite happy with that because it means he's definitely on the market. If you've got to bring in, I don't know what the actual figure is, but I can't imagine they've let themselves go ridiculously over like 30 million. There's a fella there who's a German international who's probably going to fetch 30 million in today's market. So that's an instant rectification of that Valencia imbalance. It just seems kind of strange that they're buying a £2.6 million player off us if it's Luis Alberto, and they won't be able to register him as of yet. But then, that, as we know, that can change massively quickly. 2 players out the door at the high end of the market, there's suddenly £40 million in profit or whatever it'd be. And they need to have players. They've got a season to compete, so they need to bring players in. So I think it'd be relatively optimistic that Alberto will go there. Decent move for him, got money on him. We've lost money on him, but who cares? It's one of those rolls of the dice that you take on young talent. If we can use it as make weight in a Mustafi deal, that massively excites me because I think Mustafi's a very good player. But
I just don't see that we need Mustafi. There's actually talk. We're going to come on to it in a moment. We're being linked with Bruno Martins Indi or Indy Martin, whatever.
Martins Indi.
You've got a guy there who can play in a few different positions. Now I know you do need specialists here and there, but I think right here and now, Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool need another guy who's a centre. He's good. He had that one very good game for Germany, didn't he, in the World Cup, which might have been their first game.
I stupidly looked at the squawker stats for him, and now I'm in love. And we need to move heaven and earth to buy him. Just to very quickly go through them, I put him up against PK and Varane because he beats them.
Absolutely.
So 30 games for Mustafi, 30 games for PK, 26 for Varane. Tackles, 51 for Mustafi, 34 for PK, 23 for Varane. Aerial duels won, 72.5% for Mustafi, 62% for PK, 66 for Varane. Interceptions, 133 for Mustafi, 54 for PK, and 44 for Varane. Clearances, 168 for Mustafi, 112 for PK, 129 for Varane. So as a defender, now he obviously has to do a lot more work because Valencia are going to be having a lot less of the ball, etc., than Barcelona. But I saw that, I'm like, fuck. Was it a troll Everton fans?
Yeah, absolutely. I must admit, when I saw the tentative link of it the other day, I did think, wouldn't it be quite funny if Liverpool just bought, kind of like the Momo Sissoko thing from back in the day. Another one on that, actually, this segues slightly better, so I'll go to this one next, is Sky reporting that Liverpool are interested in Joe Hart. Now, I was asked this question on Social Club this week, and that's actually a really good show. Mainly talking about him going to Everton, but it was entertaining nevertheless, as they all are. I said that we don't need Joe Hart. And everyone else said, he's better than Simon Mignolet, why don't you need him? I said, because we've got Loris Karius, who's not played a competitive game for us and looks like he could be good, but we don't know whether he's good enough. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe. The report basically says that Liverpool bought, the phrasing of it was Liverpool bought Karius as competition for Mignolet, not a replacement.
Okay.
Therefore, the logic being that if we were to buy Hart would go in as the number one, and Karius would be the number two. I wish I'd seen more of Karius. No. Because I'd like to know.
Hell of a lot of stock.
Exactly. Putting a lot of faith in a lad who's had a few decent performances in pre-season, to be fair. But I can't say with any certainty that he is better than Mignolet. I hope he is.
Yeah.
I've seen glimpses that suggest he will be, but there's no empirical, physical evidence to say that's an absolute definite. So in that instance, could you see a logical move in getting Joe Hart and making him our first choice goalkeeper?
Look, no football team has been worse for having better players.
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And no football team's worse for having competition. I think we're skewed because Mignolet has to play because Karius is injured. Look, we know what Mignolet is. Hart is a better keeper than Mignolet. He's still got mistakes in him.
Yep.
He might not be that top draw out of all of. There's a reason Guardiola's moving them on.
Yep.
Because he's not Lloris and he's not Courtois and he's not De Gea, but he's probably the fourth best keeper in the league. He can be fucking incredible on his day.
Yep.
He can also drop a clanger.
Yeah.
He has his day more often than Mignolet does. If we can sell Mignolet to a Sunderland or a Swansea or a Stoke, one of those levels, and take 10 million to 15 million for him and pay 25 million for Joe Hart, our squad is much better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, the one detriment to that is you've got Karius, who's gone from being first choice for when he was playing in the Bundesliga, voted second best keeper by his fellow professionals in the league last year, and you suddenly bomb him out and give him 6 League Cup games.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But also, I think there's probably a mentality shift from every season is the season.
Hopefully,
Joe Hart is a guy who's now right in the prime of his career. Karius is nowhere near the prime of his career as a goalkeeper yet. And also, I think there's I like the idea of we haven't got the cup football for it this season, but I also think, and I was thinking this on the drive into work today, that we are building a squad that would be capable of handling Champions League football next year as well.
Definitely.
So rather than having to go through rapid expansion next summer because we've only got 16 first team players and we need another 10.
Bed someone in and do the Ter Stegen.
Exactly.
Bravo thing.
But you also then, you're not like having to get 8 players up to speed with what you want.
Exactly.
You'd have them 1 or 2. I like the notion of that. And I think ultimately I would be much happier with the goalkeeping situation at Liverpool if it was Joe Hart and Loris Karius fighting for the one spot. And, sometimes, hopefully, if it's available and it's not a ridiculous amount of money and we've got that money to spend, have a look at it, if nothing else.
And it crosses over a little bit with the Mustafi thing where exactly what you're saying of, do we need another centre-half? Well, if he's judged Sacco to be a detrimental influence, if he's just not got any faith in insert player's name here, if he thinks he wants him, the fella would turn 25 this season in that position, who's obviously very good, but there's something Liverpool traditionally used to do when we were at the top.
Not all over this Mustafi stuff.
I just love him, don't I? But it's the same with Martins Indi, the same point comes across for him as well, but
which we're not going to have time to discuss.
We will do. People will stick by to see our legs. No, but the one thing I wanted to say on that then is ultimately Liverpool used to be really, really good at this and they've stopped doing it in recent years, possibly because we couldn't track the players. Buying players just to stop other teams getting them. If we were to buy Joe Hart to stop Everton from getting him, because he will increase our squad. It's not like we're just buying him to go pour out to pasture.
Yeah, sure.
He'd play. But then also you've stopped a potential competitor from improving in a very key area. Yeah. Mustafi going to Arsenal is going to help them out at the back. We bring him in, or Martins Indi, whoever he's been linked with, and we need to start swinging it round. And I don't mean just now exactly what you've just said, emphasising that about Klopp's tenure at Liverpool the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. I can't disagree with that. And I think for me it ultimately boils down to just it's shades of bringing in Dudek and Kirkland in a window because you're just not happy with the level of your goalkeeping. And for me, Mignolet is a Westerveld.
Yeah,
he has his day, but he's not, and will never be top level. Thoughts on that in the comments below, though. Just quickly, we wanted to do more time on this, but the fucking Mustafi loving took over. Bruno Martins Indi from Porto being linked. Now again, I like this link, and I thought we should have been after him when he moved to Porto, to be honest. Now, we know he can play in a range of positions. He can do the DM job, he can play centre-back, and he can play left-back. And what's also good about it is he was part of that final setup alongside Wijnaldum when he was coming up as well, so you've got a little bit of a connection there.
Dutch-speaking, so you've got that left side could
help
you've
got
each other out.
That absolutely. He's a Dutch international. Also, he has Portuguese as well, so he's got that connection. Porto, good team, playing in a good team for Porto. I like the look of him, and as someone pointed out in a Twitter image, he's got, if Saka's going to go, he's going to replace his mad eyes.
Which is always massively
We need
important.
someone with mad eyes in the squad. I like it. I don't think he'd cost the earth as well. He only moved for 7.7 to Porto. I think you'd be looking, and I haven't seen a price on this, but around the 15 million, I would suggest for that. He's not our left back, but he'd be a better backup left back option than putting Klavan out there as an example, and I think a better option than putting Milner there. And as you say, based on your Mustafi argument, that if Saka's not going to necessarily fit back in, you've got another guy there who can play the back.
Again, 111 games at centre back in his career, 63 at left back in his career. So even though he is not a left back, he's played an awful lot of football at left back in his career, and also 31 caps for Holland for a fellow who turns 25 in February. So that's a lot of caps to international level, and they didn't qualify for the Euros, but they got to third in the World Cup. He was part of that team. He's experienced. He's got Champions League experience with Porto. He's got World Cup experience with Holland. He covers a variety of positions. One of them we desperately need someone in the left back. And I can't imagine it'd be a ridiculous fee.
He would do for me. So let us know your thoughts on Bruno Martins Indi. Is that the kind of player we should be targeting? Similarly with Mustafi. Thoughts on the Joe Hart thing? We've done a couple of times on these shows, but please do let us know in the comments below. Check out the Liverpool squad depth show. It should be very, very interesting. We rate Liverpool squad and see where the room for improvement is between now and the closing of the transfer window. Also, the build-up show's out, and there's a great Reds News Roundup show on the redmentv.com. All Liverpool's transfer news in depth and detail, including a massive discussion on Liverpool's left-back issues. Go and watch that. It's completely free for the first month on the redmentv.com.